Welcome to the County Manager's Report. I'm Lloyd Higuera, and with me is County Manager Jim Nichols. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, and we're going to look at the June meetings of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners and some of the actions taken by the board. And first of all, we'll take a look at the June 4th meeting. And at that meeting, commissioners put in place an ordinance to put a temporary moratorium on solar photovoltaic facilities here in Douglas County. Could you give us some detail there?
Sure. Well, we've recently had two different applications submitted to the county for different solar projects, and both were met with a lot of public concern, public frustration, and so based on that, the board decided that it was best to put a hold on all future projects, at least for the time being, so that we can reevaluate the appropriate locations for such facilities. So this moratorium will give the county time to reevaluate our codes and determine if there needs to be some adjustment regarding where we allow solar facilities to be located.
I see. And how long will the moratorium go on?
It's scheduled for 180 days with the ability to extend it further. We're hopeful that within that time frame we'll have some revised language for the board to consider regarding solar facilities.
Okay. Also at the meeting, commissioners turned down an appeal, thereby upholding the Planning Commission's denial of an appeal of a major design review for a multifamily development at the ranch at Gardnerville. So could you give us some detail there?
Sure. We had a situation where a resident had some objections and concerns regarding whether the criteria necessary for this project had been met and whether the Planning Commission's approval and staff's recommendation of the Planning Commission was appropriate. So the gentleman made his appeal to the board for their consideration, gave his testimony along with staff's response to his concerns, and in the end the board decided all the appropriate findings had been made and upheld the Planning Commission's prior decision. So it was just a situation where a citizen brought their concerns forward and they were given an opportunity to be heard by the board, and ultimately the board decided that the Planning Commission had made the right decision.
Okay. Commissioners also heard at that meeting an update on the progress to secure passage of the Douglas County Conservation Bill. I wonder if you could give us a little background on the bill and then what the progress looks like.
Sure. Well, first off, a lot of folks wonder what the heck the Conservation Bill is, and sometimes it's referred to as the Lands Bill. I found a great definition that really encapsulates what this is all about. It's a locally developed comprehensive federal legislation that adjusts federal land ownership and management throughout the county, allowing improved land use planning, conservation, and recreation. The Conservation Bill is a community-driven process and becomes public law through an act of Congress. So with that as the background, we had both Senators Reed and Heller introduce the Conservation Act into the Senate earlier this summer. And then Representatives Amende, Heck, Titus, and Hardy introduced companion legislation into the House of Representatives also around the same time. The bill has currently been, or has recently been heard by several subcommittees, and we are still hopeful that we'll see passage of this legislation by the end of the year.
Okay, very good. So it's making progress.
It's making progress. It really is very important because it will have a great impact on how we protect our natural resources that are so valuable here in Douglas County.
Okay. Commissioners also heard a presentation from the Nevada Department of Transportation and their work program for Douglas County. What kind of projects they have proposed for us?
Right. Well, beyond just projects, this was an annual presentation that they provide to the board, and it's part of maintaining open communications between our agencies. They provided some of the data. They also introduced many of their staff who work on Douglas County projects, talked about some crash information that they have related to the county, and a number of projects they have scheduled in Douglas County. A number of them are small maintenance-related projects or some design and analysis work. One of the bigger ones is the widening of the bridge on Centerville Lane, including the addition of a sidewalk there. So we're looking forward to that and many of the other projects that we work on collaboratively with NDOT.
Okay. And let's move on to the June 18th meeting. That meeting was up at Lake Tahoe. And at the meeting, commissioners approved a new jobs positions classification system and pay ranges for county employees.
Right. This is more affectionately known as the Comp and Class Study. And we hired last year a company called Pontifex to assist us with this process. It was very labor intensive, and it really was focused on evaluating our job descriptions and ensuring that they're correct and accurate. Also checking the market with which we compensate our employees relative to other neighboring jurisdictions that we compete for employees with. And so the report came up with a number of recommendations regarding pay ranges. We compressed those to make it easier and have fewer different pay ranges out there. We are going to be adjusting our pay ranges and some compensation levels based on the market, and we'll be doing that over time incrementally to ensure that it's affordable and sustainable for the county, but also to ensure that we're paying our employees fairly. And ultimately, the board approved that report and the implementation strategy that was recommended by staff.
So now it's being integrated into the county system?
That's correct. It would be the new job descriptions will be effective July 1, which is the start of our new fiscal year.
Right.
And the implementation of some of the pay range and compensation recommendations will occur over the next few years.
Okay. Commissioners also heard an update on the 2015 State of Nevada legislative session, the activities there, from our lobbyists, Mary and Steve Walker. So what did they have to say?
Right. It was a very active legislative session. I can tell you that firsthand, having worked up there with our lobbyists. And a lot of great things happened, and in some cases didn't happen. Depends on how you look at legislation. A few of the highlights that they point out, AB 172 is the prevailing wage bill, and it determines at what level prevailing wages are paid for a project. The reason this one was important is that it upped the level from $100,000 to $250,000, thus giving more cushion for the counties regarding when prevailing wages are paid and potentially saving us money. There was also SB 29, which is the NACO Home Rule Bill, and it provides the county with authority over operational issues under the home rule umbrella that we like to operate under. And then there was SB 353. This was a potential bill that actually was defeated, and it would have required the bidding of professional services rather than basing those selections on the best qualified consultant. So we feel it was a victory, if you will, to defeat that measure and allow us to stick with qualifications-based selections.
Okay. Well, I think that pretty well covers the two meetings in June. Do you have any preview of any of the items that will be before the board in July?
Sure. At the July 2nd meeting, we're expecting it to be fairly long, and we're trying to keep the agenda relatively light because we've got two significant Planning Commission appeals on that same meeting. One is related to a solar facility where a neighbor is appealing the Planning Commission's approval of that. And then the other one is a cell tower where the applicant is appealing the denial of the Planning Commission. Both of those, I expect, will be lengthy and may have a great deal of public input. So those are really the two highlights, if you will, for the July 2nd meeting.
Okay, well, Jim, I want to thank you for being here and sharing all the information with us on the County Manager's Report. I'm Lloyd Higuera for County Manager Jim Nichols, and we'll see you next time right here on the County Manager's Report.